Hello, lovelies. I'm setting up my TPN for the night, and I figured I'd show you what I'm doing. If you've never been here, welcome. If you have, welcome back. I'm Kira, usually your yarn host. But I don't see a whole lot of central tunneled catheter videos on the YouTubes, so I figured I'd put one up. I will put a picture of, my husband calls it my sick girl charcuterie. Just cheapy little bamboo breakfast board. My cat knows if the board's on the bed that I'm doing something medical, and the cat is not supposed to be up in the general area of the board. Central tunneled catheter. Actually, you can still see the entry point here. They put the line in here first. They put one end of it down almost into your heart, and the other end you can actually feel under my skin. Tunnels down through here, under my skin, thus central tunneled catheter, and comes out. I have 2 lumens. Purple is my nutrition lumen. Red is my work lumen. So everything comes in crinkly plastic. Everything comes in crinkly plastic. Let me uncrinkle things and I will be right back. Okay, crinkly plastic is off. I know that annoys some people. So the first thing I need to do is, I am not using this line, but I need to flush it and make sure that it keeps flowing properly. So we take off the green cap. They're just little plastic caps full of, I believe there's chlorhexidine in them. I could be wrong. I believe there's chlorhexidine in them. It's just another barrier between your line and the rest of the world. This is simple saline. Everything comes pre-measured. Everything comes pre-sterilized. Except me. That's what alcohol prep pads are for. So you take your alcohol and you take your line. You're supposed to do this for 15 seconds. I'm just counting off roughly in my head the little squeaky noises. And you get the air out of your saline. You don't want to put air in your line. Saline is still sterile, has not touched anything. Line is sterile. Now it's not. See, and this is what can happen, and this is why we have extra things. This touched my finger. So we just do the same thing. You make sure that you get that little plastic hub piece in the middle when you're cleaning it, if it touched something. Because anything going directly into your heart, you want to make sure is clean. And you push pause just in case there's anything clinging to the end of the line. If you do a push pause method, then that makes the tip of your catheter that's going to your heart whip around a little bit, and it kind of shakes off any debris. Which small debris shaken off is good. You don't want to develop large debris. That's bad. So then saline, single use, goes in the recycling. We clean off the line again. feel free to fast forward. And this is a heparin lock flush solution. And that's the same thing. You want to make sure you get the air out of it. And there's no air leading up to the top. You screw that into the freshly cleaned hub. And that too gets a push pause. And then before that touches anything, we take the strip of green caps, peel off a green cap, and just pop it right on. So that one's done. I don't have to touch that one until tomorrow, when I have to flush it again. Now I have to set up my nutrition for tonight. So my nutrition consists of, let me move the camera and show you. I have a 2,300 ml bag of nutrients. It's still a little chilly because I didn't get it out of the fridge in enough time, but it's not like really, really cold. So that's what I have to inject my additives into this port. You snap the cap off. And now we get to do the additives. So I have 2 bottles of vitamin and 1 of medication. So you snap the little plastic cap off. And like everything else, this tube needs to be cleaned. Now I've already taken the syringes out of their sterile wrapping. And I pulled the plunger all the way back. So it's just full of air right now. You take the cap off. Sharp. Take the cap off. Bottle is clean. So the syringe goes in, and optimally, you only want to have to stab the bottle once. I don't know why. That's just what they keep telling me. So that's what I do. When you push the air into the bottles, it makes a negative pressure, so it helps to push the medication into the syringe. You want to squish all the air out because you don't want air in your bag of TPN either. Now, different TPNs look different. When I first started on TPN, it was my milkshake in a bag because it had lipids in it. And I have successfully managed to get in about 300 calories a day. So they took the lipids out of my TPN. So we're just doing blood tests and keeping track of my nutrients and adjusting my TPN from there. Anytime you have a used needle, and short arms, you should have a sharps container. I have cats, so my sharps container has a sliding lid, and I have to keep it stored above where the cats can get, because my cat's a little bit of a mook, and she says, plastic container with stuff in it. So I have to put my sharps container up and make sure I close the lid, because my cat is goofy. Sharps containers should always be kept out of the reach of animals and or children and or animal children. These are my vitamins. There's a blue cap to take off and a white cap to take off. I mix mine a little bit backwards because the first bottle has B vitamins in it. And if you've never smelled B vitamins, consider yourself lucky. And I want to give those less time for me to smell than, you know, the least time possible. So the vitamins are the same. You hit the syringe full of air into the bottle, and that creates a back pressure in the bottle that helps push the medication into the syringe, unless you're not paying attention. And then you pull the syringe out, and then you're wearing a fine mist of Infovite. And we've got, once the vitamins are in, you want to pull your plunger back all the way to get as much air into the second bottle as possible. And it helps if you can hold it up to a light source and look through to make sure you are getting all of the liquid out. See? Bright yellow, B vitamins. I will take you over and show you what I do with the B vitamins. And you want to make sure you take your hub and you clean your medication hub the same way you would clean your port or your lumen. See, now that doesn't touch anything. And the needle is already sterile. So you try to only have to stab it once. But I have 2 different medications. And this is being feisty on me since I have a camera. Why is this? There we go. And we push the B vitamins in. I keep mine at an angle like this in case there is any air in the syringe. And that goes in the sharps container. And then you pull the stem down a little bit. You want to mix it, but you don't want to make air bubbles. So it's like just smushing. It's just a smushing motion. Because you don't want to shake. You don't want air bubbles. And you want to make sure that the vitamins have dispersed from the stem here. See how it's not bright yellow anymore? This is going to be a crazy lot of editing. Okay, so this is my nutrition lumen. And take the green cap off. Now this one doesn't need a green cap because it's going to be hooked up to my pump. So the first thing we want to do before we do anything with this is my pump. This is what forces everything in that bag into my lumen until I can put more food in my face. So the pump's going to go on and it's going to make beeping noises. This is the tubing for the pump. Your tubing may vary as your pump may vary. These are your connector pieces. These are the two pieces that fit into the pump, except there is a safety feature. You need to snap off that little circle. Because if you don't snap off the little circle, it doesn't fit in the pump. Now my pump just has a lift and it'll show you. I don't know if I'll be able to get it on the camera though. See the little blue arrow? See the little hole? Little blue arrow? Little blue square goes in little blue arrow hole. And it has a little notch right there to put your tubing through. And the yellow part goes in the yellow arrow hole. So you just shut, and it has a lock on it. Now there's a couple different parts to the tubing. This is the spike that goes into the bag. And then you have your microfilter. And this is what takes so long to prime the bag. Priming the bag. Spiking the bag. This is a lot of camera movement. Spiking the bag. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this or not. But we're going to try. This is our spiking connector. You twist the little end off. It's kind of like one of those Kool-Aid juice bottle tops. You just kind of turn and that comes off. That does not need to be cleaned. Your spike does not need to be cleaned unless you touch it after you remove the cap. And make a lot of noise. This takes a little bit of effort because there is a membrane in there that you have to puncture. And then you have to make sure to squeeze that in so the line doesn't come out once you're finished. So the bag is spiked and we have to prime our pump. So I go into the programs and it goes through the whole preset program that my nurse put in there for me. While it's going through the preset program, I can flush my line. Let me make sure there's no knots in this. Alcohol pad. And this is my purple line. Purple line is nutrition line. Red line is blood line. I don't know why I'm not supposed to alternate, but I'm not. So, I did not prime this one. This has a little bit of air in it. You just want to be very careful. I'm going to do this over here. Look, you want to get the air out. And you want to make sure not to make yourself a teeny tiny fountain. Because if you're not used to syringes, getting the air out can make you a teeny tiny fountain. So this one we don't have to heparin lock. The pump gets angry if you don't pay attention to it. This one we don't have to heparin lock because we're actually going to use it. Anytime you're finished using a line or finished just flushing a line and you're not going to use it, you put the heparin lock in. This one doesn't need it until tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, after this has been on for 12 hours, then I will take it off. I'll take the line off, clean it, saline it, clean it, heparin it, clean it, put a green cap on it. Now this is priming the pump. You can't really see because it's mostly clear, but this is the best place to see. And it takes forever to get through the little filter. Once it gets up to the top line of the filter, then we turn it upside down and we move it that way to make sure to get any air out. So you can see the air still coming out. Oh, no, not really. Sort of, a little bit. You can see the air bubbles still coming out. Little air bubbles are okay. Big air bubbles are not okay. Anything that goes into your heart, you don't really want air in there. And you always want to make sure that you don't make a knot in the line, because this is how long you can walk before you have to pick up this whole backpack full of gallon of fluid. Just this. So, my setup, the way I have my bag and my tube and making sure all of the air gets out of everything, takes about 7 ml to go completely through the hose, completely through the filter, and come back out with no air bubbles, because air bubbles are bad. And sometimes a little bit of your TPN will come out too. And that's okay, because it cleans up. Alcohol. Squeaky means it's clean. Then you take your line and you take your cover off the line. And it just goes right on the hub like the syringes do. And we're infusing. Yay! That's it. Now I have to put everything where it goes in the little backpack. I have 2 saline and 2 heparin for the morning, along with my green caps and my alcohol prep pads. And that way I don't have to go hunting for supplies when my alarm beeps in the morning and says infusion complete. Also, anytime that you have any line like this, whether you have a PICC line or a central catheter line or a Hickman line, or anytime you have a line with tubing, you want to make sure that you have tubing clamps. Tubing clamps are very, very dull scissors, but they have the little clamp ratchets at the back. If something should happen to my line, I can clamp it. If something should cut my line, if something should puncture my line, I can clamp it. If something happens to the line itself, it's going to bleed and it's not going to stop. If you have an air bubble in the beginning of your line, it creates a little bit of a negative pressure. And then it does this. See this? That's people juice. See, this is where my TPN is, and I left a little bit of an air bubble, and it just pulled some back pressure. It's a little people juice. It's okay. So that's it. That is my bedtime routine. Although it's not bedtime yet. That is my evening routine. This is my before bedtime routine. I don't know. Anyway. If you have any questions, I'm here. I get to questions when I can. It takes a lot of spoons, but, you know, you guys are worth it. Thank you for watching. I hope I helped somebody. If you're scheduled to get a CTC or you think you have to get a central tunneled catheter, it's not as scary as it sounds. A lot of the technical videos that you're going to want to watch on YouTube, you don't want to watch because it looks like it hurts. But really, they do a local anesthetic when they put it in. When you wake up, it's really sore for a couple days. It literally, when I came home from the hospital, I just felt like I was in a really bad bar fight. It's just sore. It sounds scary. It looks scary. If you don't know what it is, it looks really scary. It's an upgrade from a PICC line. I think. To me, I've had several PICC lines, and I think this is definitely an upgrade. But it's not as scary as it looks. And don't let the technical stuff scare you, because the technical stuff looks scary. And I'm here if I can answer anything. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any kind of expertise except living it. But I'm here for you if you need anything. Or you could just come back for my yarn content. I crochet. I do things. I make stuff. I turn strings into things. Alright, this video has been very long, and it's going to be a lot of editing. And I'm not really good at that. So, let's see if I can get it done. Thank you, lovelies. Good luck. Be good. Be kind. Be kind to yourself. Sprinkle kindness like seeds. It's free.